All right, Miss Bardugo, you got me. I thought I had you clocked, but you got me. This is going to be an interesting review. Hello, YouTube. My name is Isabella, and today I'm going to be reviewing the language of, oh my god. We're starting off with a bang. Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. Didn't even take off the sticker yet. I've got to lay a bit of groundwork to give you a little bit of context and get up to speed to my thoughts on the Grishaverse as a whole before reading Rule of Wolves. I also think this is an interesting time that I decided to read this book because the show was airing and I was reading this whilst also watching the show. But honestly, I don't think that affected my enjoyment of it at all. I view them as entirely separate entities, and I think that's the best way to do so. But I didn't love the original Grisha trilogy. I think it's overall like a 3-star trilogy for me. Nothing super special. I love the Six of Crows duology, like all-time favorite series. I've reread them. I love them. And then came King of Scars, which I had very mixed feelings on. I have a whole review if you're interested. I think I posted it just a year ago, and I didn't really like this book. I gave it 3 stars because I don't think it's like the worst thing I've ever read, but when this was put out, I was not impressed. I didn't think the characters were very interesting. I didn't like really where the direction of the story, and certain things that happened at the end just had me rolling my eyes. So color me shocked when I didn't love it. But I really enjoyed Rule of Wolves, and I don't know how to feel now. Frankly, I didn't even intend on reading this book now. I didn't intend to buy Rule of Wolves when I did in April. As you can see, I ripped off the sticker, and when I was at a bookstore, when bookstores were open, because we're in lockdown again, I saw it and it was on sale, and I was like, you know what, we might as well just buy it, finish out the Grisha stuff, have your completed collection, and like this is probably going to be your last Grisha book unless we ever get Six of Crows 3. I just wasn't feeling it with the world anymore. And then that was just me purchasing it. And then I fully forgot that I had put a hold on Rule of Wolves because I didn't think I was going to like this book, and it came in and I had to pick it up because if not you get charged for it. And I was like, is this a sign or is this a sign? You've got 2 copies of it and you weren't even intending to read it. I think it's time to just read Rule of Wolves and get it over with. I also was really scared that I was falling out of love with Leigh Bardugo. This is also important for the context of my reviewing. I hated Ninth House so much, like 1 star. I thought that book was honestly like just terribly done. So I had very little faith in Rule of Wolves, and I'm pleasantly surprised with the results. And before we get into the review, I would like to quickly complain about Imprint, the imprint that publishes these books. I don't know why. I don't know if this is happening just to me, and if it is, I don't know how to rectify it. But look, they are not the same height, and it bothers me so much. If I didn't like Rule of Wolves, I don't think I would care as much, but I liked it. And now they're not the same height. I don't know if it's because I bought King of Scars in like an Indigo book box, and that's different, but this I also purchased from Indigo. We're finally going to get onto the review. I think I've been talking for too long. This review is also going to be interesting because I didn't actually fully write down my thoughts, just kind of like jotted down some stuff. I didn't have time to plan a full review like I normally do, so this is going to be interesting. But content warnings for this include abuse, death, violence, blood, gore, and grief. I don't think I'm really going to bother with world building. This is like book 8, 9, something like that in this world. The world is very well established. We know the powers, we know the history. There were some additions to the world. I actually liked the development more in regards to Fjerda, that nation, and learning more about them. I thought that was the only notable addition that's really worth commenting on. There wasn't much world to build in here, and that's fine. We're going to move on into the characters, which I'm pleasantly surprised about because as previously stated, I wasn't really on board with the characters. I didn't really care about the romances that were developing. I think I was really not digging the plot, so I didn't really care with what the characters were going through so much. But the characters really won me over to their side this go around, and I'm very, very happy about it. For the review's sake, I'm going to not mention character names because that could be spoilers in regards to the other series, but I'm going to talk about the Fjerda plot lines. So if you've read the books, or at least read the first book, you know what I'm talking about, and the Ravka storyline. I definitely preferred the romance and relationship with the Ravka thing, which was a huge surprise to me. I did not expect to like them as much as I did. The progression of all the characters and their arcs, I just thought the progression of the arcs for the Ravkin plot, this is going to get annoying, was really satisfying, and where they start as characters and where they end up and how they choose to express themselves just separately and together, I really liked. I also liked the fact that it didn't seem angsty for like angst's sake. It genuinely, like, there were complications with their relationship and being together. I really enjoyed the characters, their interactions, and like the side characters, how everything panned out with this group of people. I really, really liked. The Fjerda stuff I thought was okay. I just, maybe because these two are so isolated for the most part with what's going on with the other one, it doesn't feel as strong. There aren't as many characters for them to play off of. There's like spying, subterfuge, which is okay, interesting enough, but the two characters themselves and their relationship didn't feel enough to carry that whole plot line, so that's why I don't think I love them as much. I did overall I'm really happy with how things panned out. I liked, again, the character progression, especially one of the main characters, the perspective character. Oh my god, sequel series are so hard to review. But the perspective character in Fjerda, I really liked their progression and where they end up. I can't say anything else without spoiling it. I give up. The plot was something I was incredibly satisfied with. I will say at the beginning it felt very similar to what was happening in King of Scars, which, you know, duh, because it's a sequel. But because I didn't love the King of Scars plotline, I was just kind of like, yeah, I get it. We're moving. But as political things continue to ramp up, I found my engagement really peaked. I found myself really interested in where the story was going, how complicated everything was getting, and then just constantly reading further and further, going like, how on earth are these problems going to get solved? And the way things get solved, I thought was really satisfying. There were two plot points specifically that I was not a fan of, especially one of them. And if you're interested, I will tell you in the comments down below with like spoiler tags. I just don't know how to do it in a spoiler-free review of a sequel and finale. Every plot reveal and twist, for the most part, I was surprised by. Some of them I could kind of suspect or see where things were going, but I was surprised by, impressed by, and satisfied by, which is something that does not happen very often. I wasn't fully on board with the constant references to things that have happened in the past and like the written cameos. There are other characters we do interact with, which was nice, and that I don't mind as much, but I remember getting really irritated by it, especially in King of Scars, the constant references to things in the past, characters in the past, and like it was just like, it felt like a wink wink, ooh, nudge nudge thing, and I was like, all right, we get it, we know. You don't have to constantly be referencing it, but when we actually come into contact with the characters, I was happier with that versus just the constant reminiscing about the better days. I also happened to be really impressed by Verdugo's writing and the way she wrote her characters specifically in this story. I liked how she personified them through the writing, how she really gets down to the core of their problems and their feelings. Like, she really personifies all that stuff very well and like in a very satisfying way. so I was really happy with the writing. I thought this was paced actually pretty well. It's just under 600 pages. You don't really feel the length. Things keep moving, but nothing feels rushed. I truly am shocked that I liked King of Scars as much as I did. I didn't love it. There were definite quibbles I had, but compared to King of Scars, did I just say I liked King of Scars? You know what I mean. I liked Rule of Wolves. But compared to my feelings on King of Scars, I am very impressed that Leigh Bardugo managed to turn around. I remember even reading this book at the very beginning, kind of planning some things and thinking some things just out in my head in regards to my review. I was going to be like, sequel series are hard. They are hardly ever satisfying and blah, blah, blah. And ultimately, I was disappointed with this sequel series. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with anything Grisha related, all that kind of stuff. And I will say sequel series are hard. They are hardly ever satisfying. I think King of Scars still is a misstep. I think as a sequel series and a sequel series starter, tongue twister, it definitely falls into a couple traps that you see with sequel series, but the way that it's concluded ultimately was really satisfying. I think overall this is going to be a very highly regarded book. I've seen a lot of 5-star reviews from people who already love this series and loved the first one, and I'm interested if you also didn't like King of Scars, how you felt about Rule of Wolves. Like I'm so shocked that I liked it. I didn't even put it on an anticipated list of like my anticipated reads for 2021. I'm shocked and honestly really happy about it though. And I ended up giving this 4 stars, maybe even a little higher, like a 4.25. I'm impressed. It was a good conclusion. So let me know down in the comments below what you thought of Rule of Wolves. Please be mindful of spoilers, and if you want to talk spoilers, I'm down, but just like mark it properly in the comment section. I also, this is unrelated to Rule of Wolves, I kind of want to make a discussion on Grisha season 1, but I want to rewatch it, and by the time I've rewatched it and actually take proper notes, I think everyone's going to be over all the Grisha videos. So I'm just putting it out there. If you're interested, let me know, because I have some interesting feelings on Shadow and Bone. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!